Today's Troika Plus meeting in Moscow on the Afghanistan situation had two noteworthy absentees. The United States and Afghanistan, both pivotal players, one with deeply consequential stakes in the region and the other the war-ravaged country itself. Washington has cited logistical issues for not being able to attend the meeting. The State Department spokesperson Ned Price at a press conference on Monday said that the Troika Plus had been effective, but America will not be able to take part due to logistical difficulties.
We will not participate in the Moscow talks. The Troika Plus has been an effective, constructive forum. We look forward to engaging in that forum going forward, but we're not in a position to take.
Troika Plus or Troika extended representatives, Russia, China and Pakistan, meeting ahead of the planned international talks with the Taliban on Wednesday. But Wednesday's talks will entail the Moscow format, which will have representatives of Russia, Afghanistan, China, Pakistan, Iran and India. This will be the second time that Indian representatives will come face-to-face with the Taliban officials in Moscow. And while Washington has not officially said so, foreign policy watchers are intrigued with the timing of its chief negotiator to the Taliban, Zalmay Khalilzad, stepping down from service, leading to speculation that the impact of his sudden absence could not be mitigated in time. Meanwhile, Thomas West, who has been the Deputy Special Representative for Afghanistan reconciliation since January this year, will be replacing Khalilzad. Zalmay Khalilzad, an Afghan-American, was appointed in 2018 by former U.S. President Donald Trump and continued to hold the post in the Biden administration. As for India's participation in today's Troika Plus, the Indian envoy to Russia, D.B. Venkatesh Verma, has said that India was not allowed to participate. However, a representative from the country will be attending the Moscow format talks on Wednesday. Abdul Salam Hanafi, the second deputy of the interim prime minister, will be leading the Taliban delegation for the Moscow format meeting. Many analysts, in light of Moscow's invitation to the Taliban to the important forum, have speculated that the opportunity may as well drag Afghanistan out of isolation because of Russia's standing in the world. Meanwhile, Russia issued a statement for the upcoming meeting. Foreign Affairs Minister Sergei Lavrov will be addressing the participants of the meeting, during which discussions on the development of the military-political situation in Afghanistan as well as the formation of an inclusive government will be topping the agenda. Consolidating the international community to prevent a humanitarian crisis will also be touched upon. Following the meeting, the participating countries will be issuing a joint statement. Let's go straight across now to our correspondent, Susan Tehrani, with us from New York, Anas Malik from Kabul, and Siddhant Sibul from New Delhi. Siddhant, coming to you first, the Indian envoy to Russia, D.B. Venkatesh Verma, has said that India was not allowed to participate in the Troika Plus talks that were held today. At the same time, also confirming that a crucial NSA-level meeting of regional countries on Afghanistan in November.
Well, yes, Molly, significant comments by the Indian envoy to Russia commenting about the situation when it comes to Afghanistan, how New Delhi and Moscow both are essentially having conversations on regular basis when it comes to Afghanistan. Since the Taliban takeover, we have seen how the Russian president and Indian prime minister have spoken. Also the NSA conversations happening, but the comments by the Indian envoy specifically pointing out that how both countries are having one common destination. That is the phrase he has used, despite the fact that how when it comes to the Troika Plus talks at the behest of Pakistan, it's well known that India was kept out. But largely the focus now is that how when it comes to a situation in Afghanistan, it does not spill over. India, of course, is worried about Pakistan-based terror groups having space in Afghanistan, while the Russians are worried about the spillover into the Central Asian countries like Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. These countries have close relationship with Moscow, and this has been talked about publicly as well by Russia. But during that extensive interview, he talked about other aspects of the relationship as well, whether it is S-400 and of course how both countries are going to take forward the economic relationship.
All right, stay with me, Siddhant. Susan Tehrani has been tracking those developments and reactions coming in from the United States. Susan, what more do we know about these logistical difficulties that America has cited over backing out from this meeting?
Yeah, that's right. That is what the State Department basically said, quote unquote, logistical difficulties. But one aspect that is very noteworthy is the Biden administration, because of the disaster that the Afghan withdrawal has been, possibly the biggest foreign policy debacle in current U.S. history. Contemporary U.S. history, really wants Afghanistan to go away from the minds of the American public. And from a messaging standpoint, internationally and nationally, it's hard to imagine whether or not this would have been a smart move on the part of the United States to sit at the table for a photo op with countries like Russia, China, and Pakistan to discuss Afghanistan one day on the eve of another meeting in Moscow where the Taliban would be present and Iran would be present, and again, happening again in Russia. So, did it forego being at these talks because of the messaging that it would send not only to international allies, but here at home when it's really facing a difficulty on the part of its foreign policy agenda? Remember, every day almost there is a news report coming out that there are still American allies, green card holders, and perhaps some citizens stuck in Afghanistan waiting to get out, and the Biden administration has failed them, and they're afraid of their lives because they just simply were not able to escape, and they've been failed, and they've been basically stranded. So you have that messaging on the one hand, you have the debacle domestically that this administration is facing on the other, and then to sit at the table with this photo op with China and Russia and Pakistan on the other, bringing the Taliban back into the equation. One has to wonder whether or not that played the part in it or not.
Indeed, and the other messaging that the United States was not a part of this crucial meeting, a stakeholder in the entire process. Let's also get Anas into this conversation. Officials from 10 countries will be attending as per that statement that's been released by Russia. It also says that representatives from the Taliban will be present, essentially not giving Taliban the legitimacy as the rulers of Afghanistan, which in itself is a setback for the terror group even before the talks have started.
Absolutely, Molly. We saw that statement coming in from the Russian Foreign Ministry, but that came in after what the Taliban statement said. The Taliban statement emphasized, or rather gave this perception that this engagement tanmounts to recognition as well. They also talked about how they have been committed to this process, quote unquote, since its inception, and how they would want the world to engage with them. But Russian Foreign Ministry quickly putting out that statement, and that then in that very statement also talks about the statement that is to be made from the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov tomorrow during the Moscow format meeting that kicks off sometime 11:30 a.m. Local time, Moscow time. So that would be very important because the Russian side dehyphenating or hyphenating the Taliban from the government, and they're also emphasizing on military and political issues, also emphasizing on the issues that are to be discussed, but not giving a recognition to the Taliban as a government is indeed a setback, and rather it's like shattering the Taliban's dreams, to be precise. So tomorrow's meeting would be all important. The Taliban delegation is being led by Abdul Salam Hanafi. Very interestingly, when on the 4th of September 2017, when the first Troika meeting, when the first Moscow format meeting was held in Moscow, Abdul Salam Hanafi was the one leading the Taliban delegation in the capacity of being a leader from the Doha office, from the political office. And now tomorrow he will be leading the delegation as the quote-unquote interim Prime Minister of Afghanistan under the Taliban government. So all eyes there, and the outcomes to that would certainly be impacting how the ground situation in Afghanistan shapes up, because it's currently the winter is around the corner. It's roughly 7 p.m. here, and even now the temperature, the Celsius, has dropped to 9 degrees Celsius. So there is a humanitarian crisis that is at play. Lots of key takeaways there, lots of discussions that are there, and tomorrow will be all important when it comes to Afghanistan. Molly?
Right, a quick update from Susan on the chief negotiator to the Taliban, Zalmay Khalilzad, stepping down from service at a time like this. What have your sources been telling you about this?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Zalmay Khalilzad has now become a polarizing figure. He actually told Foreign Policy in an interview that he's flattered that all the dices are falling on him, and he's somewhat sort of being called the mastermind behind the Afghan withdrawal and the debacle that followed it. And he's denying it. He says that he wasn't in charge. He was basically a messenger, and don't shoot the messenger. He, you know, multiple sources say that we're here because of his negotiation tactics. This is what they told Reuters. Others say that he was carrying the message of Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, many are saying, the people that I talked to are saying that Zalmay Khalilzad, you know, he was born in Afghanistan. He was from Mazar-e-Sharif, and he had a stake in the country in a way that he was from there, and he wasn't really able to really bring these sides together because ultimately, you know, there was a deal that didn't want to go through, you know, and that was on the part of the Taliban. He himself said it was the reason the deal didn't go through. He actually put the blame on the Afghan government, the previous government of Ashraf Ghani. He said that they just underestimated things and they thought the U.S. would stay there forever. So, you know, yes, he did step down at a crucial time, but his deputy was really leading the talks in a lot of senses in the recent past anyway. And one has to question whether or not these Doha talks and these negotiations with the Taliban really would really bear fruit at the end of the day or not. But yes, a lot of talk on whether or not Zalmay Khalilzad, being from Afghanistan, former UN envoy, serving Bush, serving Biden, if he couldn't get this debacle under control, who can?
Indeed, a lot of questions that remain to be answered, a lot of expectations at the same time from this crucial meeting. We're leaving it there for the moment. Susan Teherani, Anas Malik and Siddhant Sibal, thanks very much for those inputs for now. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.